What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Surviving Java series. Yep, we have finally got a title for the series, although the title should be on episode 1 because I've not actually uploaded or released the first episode yet. But yeah, we're going with Surviving Java, sort of to match the Surviving Bedrock. I tried to come up with numerous different names for the series, but Max sort of shot me down on every single one I suggested, and he said, why not just stick in the theme with the Surviving Bedrock and just go Surviving Java, because that's pretty much what we're trying to do here. Yeah, so today what we are planning on doing is getting out of F5 mode because I need to learn the keys on my keyboard, just exactly where everything is, and it takes me a little bit of time. I actually have to look down just to find the F5 key, but yeah, that's done. So today I actually had a complete plan of what today was meant to be going like, but so I actually, in preparation, dug out a big hole. It's like a slime chunk, and then I sort of laid out all of the sort of foundation area of the sort of style that I want my base to be in, because I've never really built within a circular fashion when it comes to like a main sort of base. So that's what I'm going for. All the kelp in the middle is for just creating the water source blocks from where I've taken down the island all the way down to the sea floor level. And there's a couple of things that we are actually going to have to do. One is I'm going to have to get rid of all this kelp so we can actually see what's going on. Two is, unfortunately, I'm going to have to get rid of the boat. It's in a pretty awkward position from where I've laid down the foundations, and I don't want to shift the entire foundation over because it's sort of dead center of where all the coral reef is. Hello, buddy. Can we get you? There we go. Yeah, so I'm going to have to get rid of the boat. I'll get rid of the kelp because most of it's all fully grown now, and the rest of this is just so when I'm building down here, when I put like ceilings on different compartments of the actual build I want to do, it's not going to then stop water from flowing down, because obviously the water source blocks would be at the top, the water was flowing down, so if you build a ceiling about here, you'd have air gaps, and so yeah, the kelp's just to create the water source blocks all the way through. That's all pretty much done and dusted, and then I'll try to explain everything after I've actually got rid of all of the kelp and got rid of the sunken ship, because it will be a lot easier to explain, so then you can actually see what's going on. So yeah, I'll catch you back in a sec. So it took a lot longer to take down all of the kelp than I initially thought. Well, not just the kelp, but the ship as well. I've completely got rid of that. I'm not too sure where to take this episode exactly. I have got a feeling that what I want to be doing is probably taking down the entire inner ring. So if I can show you here, what we've got an outer ring which has a diameter of 100 blocks from one side to the other, and then the inner ring is 50 blocks from one side to the other, just so it creates this sort of gap of a perimeter wall. And then, I don't know what Max is doing. I think he's trying to track how much iron his iron farm's getting or something, but yeah, I'll leave him to it. And then in the middle of the two rings, you've got these 4 little rings. And oh my god, the dolphin's grace. They keep on boosting me just when I don't really want to be boosted. So these little rings are going to be little structures that I'm going to be building for the conduits. And that means that we're going to have to shift one of our conduits, and we should actually have enough nautilus shells and the prismarine in order to make the other one. So if we get our... Oh, we need another 3. Oh, we're running low on them because we've got one at our mob farm. We've got one down there below already. So, nautilus shells. Let's make some conduits. Thank you. We've still got 11 left, so we can still make that last one should we need to. And this can go into mob drops. If you're wondering where I got the gunpowder from, that is from Steak and Noodles. He's just finished making a creeper farm. And I went over there just to check it out, and I thought, well, while I'm over there, why not just pinch some gunpowder, just in case we need it. Currently, we do not need it. I'm not planning on blowing anything up just yet, plus explosions in the water very rarely do much damage to blocks, or no damage, should I say. What are we after? We're after prismarine, aren't we? So hopefully we've got enough prismarine to do all of this, and then we're just going to need some temporary blocks and easy to break, so sandstone it is. And blue fishies. So the only iffy thing about this is I don't know if this is going to be all source blocks of water over here where I've taken it down. What Y level do we want? 1, 2, 3, 4. Say 55. should be where our actual conduit thing is. So we do one of them there, and then we can break a yacht, and then we can start building. So 1, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nice. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go round and build the 4 conduits in our 4 little cardinal directions from our main base area. That way we should pretty much cover the entire outer area around our entire ring in an even amount, because at the moment, with that being over there, once I'm on that side over there, digging out that side was a massive pain because I lost night vision and I lost all the perks from the conduit, so I had to keep on going up for air. So having these dotted about while I'm working on the actual base will be an absolute godsend. So yeah, I'm going to crack on and get the rest of these built. Alright, so I've got all 4 of them and they're all full tiered, I was about to say beacons there, conduits. And we've still got quite a bit of prismarine, so we've got more than enough to actually make the final one that we've got, but I don't know where to make it, because obviously this is going to cover everything down to bedrock and further out than what we actually need it for. So it's actually going to cover quite a large area, because each one has like a radius or a sphere around it, I do believe, of 96 blocks when it's full tiered. So yeah, and with 4 of them on cardinal directions, we should be able to deal with any of the random drown that seem to wander in. But as for the actual build style, I'm not too sure. What I am tempted to do though is, regarding this slime chunk, I don't fancy really building a slime farm over here, although it could be useful, but I don't want it taking up a very large chunk of what could potentially our base, because what I'm thinking now is actually we dig out the entire inner circle all the way down to bedrock, and then have that as sort of a extension onto our base, because obviously we could go up so high, but I want the top end of the building to be mainly aesthetic rather than functional, and then we want all of our functional stuff down below that we can hide in the wall should we need to be doing redstone and that, because that way we can get air pockets in the side of the wall as we're digging it out in order to lay redstone. Because obviously we're going to want some form of an item sorting storage system, and I really need to get all of the chests from up there down here place, and now I want to get a super smelter and a load of different sort of functionality things within our actual base. But I think digging down to make it, just to give it that really big grand wow factor, would be extremely good, but it means a heck of a lot of work for me. But luckily we've got the conduit effects and we've got the beacons, so it's probably going to be about another 2 or 3 days before I manage to do any recording if I'm going to dig this out. I may try to enlist Steak and Noodles or Mac to try help me dig it out, just so that I can start laying the foundation and prep work, because I have no idea what sort of block palette I want to build with either. Yeah, if you're wondering what sort of time I'm recording this at, the snapshot for the 1.16 has just been released yesterday for me. So when this comes out, it'll probably be about a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks after that is released. So that's how early I'm recording this episode. But what I was hoping is that when they sort of showed them blocks off, I actually really like a couple of them for wanting to build this sort of style base in, because I don't want to be building in Prismarine, because I think I've done that in my multiplayer and on the Malazan server. I use Prismarine for the roofs and I use normal stone bricks for our island builds, but I really don't want to go that way about doing this one. I'm thinking sort of white concrete or quartz, or some sort of white for the main sort of walls, just to make it look a lot more sort of royal and grand. And then you've got the 2 new wood types which are being released in the Nether update, which should go proper dead handy in doing the roofing that I actually want to do. So what you may do is build up the walls and then actually leave the roofing until after the Nether update has been released, just so that we've got access to the new varieties of wood colours. It's probably going to be the way I go, but I've got a lot of work to carry on with digging this down, but I need to find something else that we can probably work on in this episode, because obviously that's going to take me a while and I don't want to leave this episode hanging, so to say. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start digging, and while I'm digging, I'm going to start thinking of a little mini project that we can do, probably like a little mini farm that we can have in this area, just sort of functionality sort of thing. But yeah, for now, I guess I'll catch you in a bit. Bye. Yeah. Oh, I'm stuck. Alright then, guys, so a little bit of a change of owl, a little bit of a change of plan here from our building in the base is, oh, there we go, respawn point set. I'm getting my arse handed to me by silverfish. Yeah, there we go. So what we're going to be doing is actually taking on the Ender Dragon quickly in order to go get some shulker boxes, because I need to collect massive amounts of sand and gravel in order to make some concrete for the base design that I want to do. So that's what we're going to go ahead and do. So without further ado, let's jump straight into it. Okay, so we're back from the end and the end city raiding. I'm not too sure how much of that footage I'm going to be including because, well, the dragon fights and end city raiding tend to be the same. Like, if you've seen one of them, you've seen them all, sort of thing. So I'll probably just sort of speed through it in editing and show any decent bits that I think are worth showing. But now that we're back, I want to show you exactly what our loot is. And before I do that, I actually want to explain the changes that we've got on our screen here. I've added a couple of client-side mods now. The server is 100% vanilla server, so there's no changing in spawning mechanics or any mechanics of the game whatsoever, barring the data packs, which is just like the extra mob heads and just sort of, I don't know, just cosmetic side of things really. As far as I can tell, nothing else has been affected. But the client-side mods that I've got is a mini-map mod. I completely forgot the name of it. I should really check that up. If I remember to do so, I'll whack down the details of the mods that I've got on the client side of things in the description of the video. But we've got a mini-map mod that we can sort of bring up a map of our surrounding area, so you could sort of get an overview. I wanted to add this mainly so I could sort of show our base progression as we go along. So we've got the inner circle there, which is going to obviously be the main structure of our base, is what I'm hoping. I don't know if you can see my mouse being recorded, because sometimes the recording software I'm using gets rid of the mouse cursor, but in the center is our main sort of area base, and you've got the big circle going around the outside, which is our sort of perimeter wall, and then the little smaller ones are conduits. And then I actually want to do another sort of decently sized circle on the north, south, west and east markers, just on each corner of the sort of circle. Each corner, circles ain't got a corner, but each in the cardinal directions from the circle, and then do something with that just to sort of, I don't know, sort of just make it come out bit by bit and make it look really nice. I'm actually liking the way that it's coming out already. But the mini-map mod that we've got on here allows us to add waypoints. So it makes, it's just more of a quality life improvement, to be honest with you. So if we go into the Nether, and I'm not sure if I've got the markers active at the moment. Oh my god, my game sounds so loud. Hold on 2 seconds, hopefully that's not too loud for you. Let's just go on to you. Let's knock you down to say 15, hopefully. Should be okay. A little bit more bearable. A little bit more, yeah. So we've got Max over there, then we've got Stakes over there, we've got a gravel collection area, and we've got a sand collection area. I've not bothered marking all of ours barring our home portal, and that is just so I know. It's just a lot easier than having to look up the coordinates and head in the right direction every time, just to have a visual marker, and just to save us having to put actual markers everywhere. Because obviously we're going to be resetting the Nether once the 1.16 update comes out, we didn't really want to go overly putting in a lot of work on the Nether until that's out, because it's going to be reset and obviously starting again from scratch. But the markers are very handy, and on the main map we can see here we've got the home marker on the bottom left hand side. That is where our portal in the Nether would actually link up in the overworld, but because our portal's over here in the center of our circle and it's the closest portal to it, it automatically links it, so it's not really much of an issue. But nevertheless, our loot that we've got from the End City raiding, oh, and again I completely forgot, we've also got a add-on that allows you to see the durability of your tools and armor, just so that when I was flying around in the end I could keep track of I didn't even have it when I was in the end, I'm lying there, but I got it afterwards because I was losing track on our durability of our elytra, so having a visual representation down in the bottom right hand corner would be extremely handy. And there's another one that if you hold shift over the shulker boxes, it will actually show you what's in all of them. So yeah, we've got actually a bunch of stuff. I've got I did take some redstone bits and pieces with me for some reason. This one actually needs to be emptied, so we just put that one there and out of the way with. So yeah, we've got a bunch of diamond gear, pickaxes, shovels, loads of pants, a couple of chest plates. We've got a shulker head as well, actually. We check that out. I didn't actually really check this out when I was looting. I actually really like that one. I really wish that you could sort of combine these and have them as like cosmetic skins over your armor, so that way you could wear the different heads, because otherwise they're pretty much just vanity items, and they usually go in my head chest there. And what else have we got? We've got some more pants, just iron, gold, sword, pickaxe, another shovel, bunch more iron, dragon's head. We've got a load of them gem things as well, just a data pack. Not sure if there's any in this one yet. So you've got like the rubies, the aquamarines and amethysts, and I don't know what they're planning on doing with them, or if they're even planning on doing anything with them. Shulker shells, you are going into there. So our fireworks and potions. Empty. So yeah, so now we've got access to the shulker chest, and because oh yeah, because I forgot that I didn't even show you all of this after, well, before I went to the end. There's a lot to catch you up on. So I dug out the entire inner circle all the way down to bedrock, and as you can see, I've got the kelp already growing down here in order to create all of this flowing water into water source blocks. And having to actually manually now place the kelp all the way up to the surface, I've started on the outer rim and it uses so much kelp. And for some reason, after you place it up towards the top, it carries on growing again. Like, it will stop down here, and then I think if you refresh it with another piece of kelp, it'll carry on growing again. But yeah, my plan is to actually whack a outer line of completely white concrete on the inside of the circle, just as sort of like a base block to sort of build up from. And to do that, we need a large amount of sand and gravel. So I already went through the pleasure of going out and harvesting. What did I do with it? Where did I put it? Did I put it in the sand chest? Yeah. So we've got, what is it, 6 shulkers of gravel, 6 shulkers of sand, and that's all ready to be made into concrete to carry on doing that thing. And the base is just going to slowly take progress over time. It's not going to be something I'm going to try to get done in one episode. But what I do want to do in today's episode to finish us off with is actually get some form of a kelp farm up and running, because placing all of the kelp uses a lot of kelp, and manually having to harvest it in order to do this is becoming quite a chore. Like, I've got a little section of kelp here growing, which I'm harvesting, and then coming over here, and it's just very time consuming. If I could just go to a double chest and collect it all, it'll be so much easier. So our plan is to have a 64 plant kelp, 64 plant kelp farm. So what we are going to want is our 64 pistons, and we're going to want to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1 and 2. That should be our 32. Wow, we're really pushing it on that side though, aren't we? Can we just do that and take it one further back instead? I reckon we do that, then we can have our 32 pistons facing this way. It's going to be a very, very bog standard one. What we're going to do is actually have 32 along there, 32 along this side, and then we're going to have a hopper clock at the back there. So we've got 32, 32, hopper clock, and do the redstone lines behind this wall. I'll dig out an area before flooding this entire thing, and we're going to have a glass pane, a section of glass panes in front of the kelp plant, so that way the top of the water that I place up there will be flowing into the glass panes, and then when they get broken, the kelp should float up onto the glass panes, drop down the glass panes, where we're going to have water streams underneath here, flowing all the items down to this direction, and then collected in a set of hoppers, pushing into multiple chests in the middle. Should be the plan, but it still is going to require a lot of work, and I want to change up these walls a bit, because obviously after getting all of the plants in place and whatnot, we're not going to want to tear it all out in order to decorate it. So I'm thinking just to use white concrete as well for the sort of backing, just to make it sort of fresh and polished. And then regarding the central main theme, we can always adjust and tidy up after we've done it all. Even after it's flooded, it will actually be easier reaching the ceiling and that. So yeah, what I'm going to do is get all of the stuff in place here, and once I'm ready to start getting the kelp in place, and after I've placed all the concrete, because we're going to have to replace all of these walls, after I've got all of this done, I'll bring you back for a bit of an update. Yeah, come on, thank you. Alright then guys, so I've been busy and I've managed to get most of it pretty much done. I keep on losing my way each time I jump down here though. So we've got the water in, we've got the sand in place, we've got all the white concrete and the backing and the outlines of the glass panes. So the only thing I think's not going to look great is when we have the water flooded inside of here, you're going to have the air gap where the glass panes are. And I'm also worried about running into the issue that if the top blocks get turned into water source blocks, it will stop the flowing water and stop the actual kelp from sort of flowing along to the glass panes, which is a little bit worrying. But I've got water streams underneath that lead all the way down into a collection area, which is just down here. I've set up a bunch of double chests. Now this is sort of like a future-proofing system for me at the moment, because eventually I want this running into a smelting system to actually create the kelp blocks sort of semi-automatically. Obviously I'm still going to have to craft them, but it's just sort of part and parcel of using the kelp blocks, and I want to use them mainly as fuel. I've been using them as fuel types as it is, but been doing it in a very small setup, so hopefully this sort of does that as well. So eventually what we will be doing is having some form of a super smelter area under here to create the kelp blocks, and then probably one unit down further will be down here, which is where we actually have our super smelter. So it'll be like a 3-tier level system for creating the fuel and then processing the fuel and then our actual super smelter. But nevertheless, what is it we was doing? I was actually about to finish off doing the redstone bits and pieces, so we do actually need to make what is it I was after? We just need some random blocks, don't we? And then we also need one of you. So because we're going to be running this off of a hopper clock rather than using observers to do it automatically, and the whole point of that is because after we fill them chests with kelp, I actually want to be able to turn it off, otherwise we're just going to have kelp sitting on top of them hoppers, and entities just floating around is never good for a server anyway. So it's just a case that we can turn it off when and as we want to. Can I just get a little bit more headroom in here, please? Thank you. So let's do one of you there, one of you there. Let's get our redstone block on the go. And we've got a couple of hoppers, so you and against you. A standard Ep05 hopper clock, very simple. Oh, how did I manage to place that through there? That's crazy. Okay, into there. That's how we wanted it to go. And then we've got our comparators. I'm going to have to clear a little bit more room behind you guys. And behind you. Like that. Just put you there. And put you there. And then one there. One there. And redstone dust. Excellent. That should be that, and then we want to be able to change this into a single tick pulse. So, you know what, I'd rather have these running separately. So instead of doing one, if we have this guy here, then how far is that? It's 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I'm gonna have to double extend this. For such a small amount, it's gonna annoy me having to use repeaters. If we do one there and say one, let's make it a little bit finicky. We have one going into there. That redstone dust is going to then compromise that. If I push this back by 1, it would make everything so much more simpler. Yeah, I'm going to do that. Okay, I think we've pretty much got it all sort of done there with the hopper clock. Moved it back by an extra block. I just want to get a lever so that we're able to turn it off and on, and it's just going to be a budget. Oh, I think that will work anyway. Yeah, so we just got the hopper clock running into 2 separate signals, one going off to the left, one going to the right, so that way we are not activating both of them simultaneously, because I think 32 kelp plants breaking in one time is going to be a little less strenuous, especially if I'm going to be in the area when it's active, than 64 of them breaking, so having them alternate, plus to mention that the hoppers underneath are only going to be able to pick up so much so quickly. So I think having it on this sort of system is a lot better. How many blocks do you reckon we should throw in that? So we don't want it activating like every 20 seconds or so, do we? We say a couple of stacks worth. There you go, like so. And then you just want to be able to notch these guys up 1 signal. And hopefully be able to see it work at some point. We also need to get kelp as well. I completely forgot to grab that. So go. Should have a bunch of it in one of these chests. We only need a stack, so there we go. Down to here. Now it's a case of trying to get in here without flooding the entire place. It's always fun. So if we were to say just... I've not got... My silk touch pick is nearly dead. How much durability have we got left on this? 124, that's fine. Now I may want to extend that signal. I'm not too sure if I saw them fly out or not. Can we get up? Oh. That. Like I saw. And this should hopefully solve all of our problems with having to finish off all the kelp growing in our main central area. Because once we actually clear out all of that kelp in the central area, then we can actually start working on the design aspects of the base. Okay, so they're growing fine. Do this next side. We're on 1, 2, 3. Oh, come on, there's an air gap there which isn't helping me. Come on, let me in. Okay, you know what? This is just silly. There we go. And if we're ever in the need of food, we can always eat dried kelp. Can I stand, please? Thank you. I was planning on doing that, because I know that that's an achievement in the Bedrock edition. Is that if you yeah, that's a word. If you just eat dried kelp, and only dried kelp for 2 days, then it's some weird achievement. There are some achievements on the Java edition that I want to get, like the one that you have to have every single like potion effect. Okay. And the other thing that I'm worried about at the moment is the kelp at the moment. Unless it grows all the way to the top, we're not going to have water source blocks, so when it does break it... see, that one had grown before, and that side is just activated, so... If we extend that and extend that, just so it's got a much more lengthier signal, and we can see if the kelp manages to float all the way up to the top or not, which is what I'm hoping for. I'm not too sure what sort of design aspect to go with the main theme of our base. I'm thinking like blues and blacks as well as the white sort of background drop, but then depends. Okay, so that's all broken. And that fell straight away. But that's just because it was just the first layer. Once it grows a little bit higher, I think I may have to extend the timing on that. But one good thing about the sort of single tick pulses and monostable circuits here is that the pistons aren't staying extended for each time they come out, which is always handy because it means more maximum time for them to grow. I know there's probably about 100 different ways of building kelp farms that will be 100 times more efficient, use 100 times less pistons and less resources, but I thought this was like just a nice little setup and contained unit. I'm quite happy with the way it is, but unfortunately it is definitely nearing that time of the episode where I have probably gone well over. I went and collected a bunch of pack dice. Oh my god, that's loud. Yeah, it's getting to that time of the episode where I should definitely be calling it a day, because I still need to edit like the previous 2 episodes. I've not even begun to edit, and I know editing the ender part of this episode is going to be a bit of a nightmare, because it's like an hour and a half worth of footage that I need to whittle down into a speedy up bit, just so you don't get bored of the dragon fight, which I tend to always skip people's episodes that have the dragon fight, because I find them just... Once you've seen it, you don't need to see it again. This is what I'm worried about, because the water's still flowing down. It's not source blocks going up to the top, so I'll probably run across here and just manually plant all of the kelp. I'll switch it off, and then just manually plant the kelp up to the top. Cheers for that, mate. It's just what I needed. So yeah, hopefully you've enjoyed today's episode. Hopefully I've not droned on too much, and that is just the back of my head. Hopefully I've not droned on too much, and luckily we've actually made quite a bit of progress. We've got to the end, we've done the end city raiding, we've got our first actual farm up and running in our new base place. Hopefully you're excited to see where this base goes, just as much as I am, and hopefully I'll catch you all in the next one. Bye bye.